Story number 13. Case closed and buried. In previous stories, I covered in detail modalities of burying the corruption stories in public space and interfering with the criminal justice system. The cases that I described previously touched upon the organized scheme of stealing property from elderly people in homes for elderly people in the city of Zagreb that were owned by the city of Zagreb. As soon as organized corruption model in the city of Zagreb was established, the actors in charge of cover-up operations were put in different positions in different institutions in order to prevent leaking of information to the public or criminal justice system. Power of these people rested on the very documents during the transfer of government in 2000 that I described in some of the first few videos, and their ability to blackmail literally anyone important in Croatian society. As our investigation at that time indicated, there were several people that represented a core team of those cover-up operations. The first was Miro Laco, ex-colonel of Croatian intelligence agency that I portrayed in detail in story 11. Mirko Ljubičić-Šveps, another colonel of Croatian intelligence community and personal friend of Miro Laco. Miodrag Demo, ex-Croatian Special Forces officer, and Zvonimir Sunarasuki, officially the producer at Croatian National TV, but unofficially known as a fixer for everything for Croatian political, business and criminal elite. In short, this organization worked like this. As soon as they recognized the threat of exposure of their criminal activities, they will activate so-called protection mechanism. This protection mechanism will start usually that Miro Laco and Mirko Ljubičić-Šveps would be in charge of accessing any kind of controversial information on the subject. That is their threat. That was in possession of Croatian intelligence community through their friendship with former colleagues. If such information could not be explicitly found, they would, based on some elements of the truth that were in possession of intelligence community, fabricate the story that would create suspicion and transform it in a kind of document that could look as a legitimate intelligence community report on a person. This story then would be distributed to the points of threat, whether it is public, journalists, or criminal justice system, in order to create a doubt in motives of the reporters of corruption. This sophisticated scheme was informally crafted and organized in a City of Zagreb Office for Health and Social Care that was led by Zvonimir Šostar, one of the most trusted allies of Mayor Milan Bandic at that time. However, in order to complete the cover-up story, they needed neutral character witness to prove their innocence, support their defense at courts, and enable them to continue with the operation. And in our case, in my specific case, they found one. So immediately upon publishing of our story about homes for elderly, where people lost property worth millions in this organized scheme, Zvonimir Šostar, head of the City Department of Health and Social Care, signed an agreement with Transparency International chapter in Croatia for creating so-called transparent waiting list for homes of elderly people that were subject of our story. These waiting lists, according to agreement, would prevent corruption in speeding up the accession to the homes for elderly, or any other type of anomalies that we detected in the concrete cases that we published at the time. Zorislav Antun Petrovic, the head and new leader of Transparency International Croatia after Josip Kregar was removed, became one of the key actors in this. And City of Zagreb even put Transparency International in their strategy for development of social policies in period 2004-2007. So with this agreement, Mayor Bandic, Zvonimir Šostar, and the crew in charge of this organized scheme had it almost all cleared up. With introduced waiting lists, for the general public, everything now was clean, was in order, was closely observed by one of the most respected anti-corruption organizations in the world, Transparency International, and the cases that we provided and presented to the public were no more relevant. However, this project, with the introduction of the waiting lists, could not address any actually of the issues that we pointed out, because these waiting lists would be resting on the official opening spaces in the homes of elderly people of City of Zagreb, which would be based on the reports of the management of those homes. But as our investigation showed, in many cases, when one of the beneficiaries and residents of the homes for elderly people would die, instead of reporting the open space, the management would usually simply introduce this place through unofficial channels to another person. And the entire scheme of taking over the property of the elderly people that had no families simply continued. And as I pointed earlier, this property worth millions, because usually we are talking about the apartments in downtown Zagreb that had a more than significant value. However, presence of the Transparency International in this project blocked any further attempts from PSD to create the public pressure and protect the rights of the elderly people that were seriously violated, and that they were basically cheated or extorted, as they had no family and no one to represent their rights. Finally, this illustration of what was going on at that time would give you more insight into why the case couldn't go through. While we were trying to bring city officials to justice, in this case of Home Feltry in 2004, the police department that was in charge of investigation against Mayor Bandic, Zvonimir Šostar, and the organized crew, sponsored the activity of Zvonimir Šostar and City's Department of Health and Social Care under the title Beautiful Women and Popular Sportsmen. As video shows, from that time, that very time where investigation supposed to be going on against City of Zagreb, Zvonimir Šostar, on a presentation of the project and the calendar that they did together with the city's police department, stated, the cooperation between City of Zagreb and the police department of City of Zagreb was never better. He was personally thanking key police officials in the public.
Dragi prijatelji, meni je osobito čast i zadovoljstvo da vas u ime grada Zagreba mogu pozdraviti, ali ono što želim reći to je fenomenalna suradnja sa policijskom upravom Zagrebačkom. S nama je ovdje i Robert Kralj. Robi, hvala ti, mi surađujemo cijelo ovo vrijeme. Mislim da nikad bolja suradnja nije bila između policije i gradske uprave. Ja sam siguran, tim ćemo tempom nastaviti dalje. Hvala sportašima i ljepoticama koji su našli vremena i volje da se pridruže ovoj nadasve humanoj akciji. Hvala svim sponzorima, hvala agenciji koja je toliko, jer bez medijske podrške mi apsolutno nikada ništa ne možemo napraviti dok se javnost ne sazna što se zaista događa na stadionima iza zatvorenih vrata.
A Krunoslav Borovec, at the time the spokesman of City of Zagreb Police Administration and later playing always role as a police official, stated in response to Zvonimir Šostar, Sanja Bjedov and Maja Šostar did a great job in this project, Maja Šostar being the sister of Zvonimir Šostar. And he concluded it was a pleasure of the police department to sponsor this project. Sending a message to all and everyone that Zagreb officials are under police protection and that there is no case.
Želim istaknuti da su dvije divne i marljive dame savršeno vodile projekt Lijepe žene i popularni sportaši. Sanja Bjedov-Popović i Maja Šostar napravili su izvrstan posao i ja na tome čestitam. Policijska uprava sa zadovoljstvom je prihvatila pokroviteljstvo nad ovim projektom.
Therefore, the case was buried and dead. And PSD was isolated from any possibility of creating public pressure and assuring the justice for the victims that we were seeing and interviewing every day. And for me, the city officials had other plans. Or as the judge in the case against me stated in a verdict describing the events in 2004. The plaintiff, meaning Mayor Milan Bandic, has asked the witness that was testifying before the court to kill the defendant, which is me, stating that Podumljak is Balija, which would be derogatory term for Muslims, mercenary and foreigner, clarifying that amount of money is not an issue and that the defendant, me, had to be silenced. As some of you already know, we are in this last effort to change the way we think and act against corruption. And here is what I want you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. And every day, take 10 minutes of your life. Watch the video, share it, and ask your friends to share it further. If we succeed in this, they cannot stop it. Finally, participate. For each video, I want you to become a juror and adjudicate and give your opinion on what you believe is the truth and what you believe is right and wrong done by different actors. If you want to save others in this fight, donate to the account on the screen under the title save the fight. That's all what I want from you. Everything else will be done by me and only me. Thank you very much.